guys, welcome back to the Chaotic Kids channel, where I'm Michelle making fantasies come true, one story at a time. And today we are going to be doing another book review. First of all, I'm sorry if you guys can hear the fan running. I'm really hot. I just need the fan on. But second of all, we are doing a book review today. I know we just did one on Sunday and today's Tuesday, but I figured I wanted to talk about this book too before I forget about it. But the book that I finished reading was A Mirror of Shadows by Sarra Cannon. This is a new adult portal fantasy romance. It is a slow burn, enemies to lovers kind of vibes. But yeah, this is the book. If you're interested, go pick it up. I will have a link to the book down in the description below. But so kind of let's go into the history as to why I picked this book up, and then some things that I'm enjoying about it. So this book, Sarra Cannon, okay, so first of all, Sarra Cannon is an author-tuber here on YouTube. She has two different YouTube channels. One is called Heart Breathings, which that is more of an author, kind of like not world building, but author, productivity kind of place, motivational kind of space. While her Sarra Cannon channel is more directly for her readers of her books. The very first book that I have ever read of hers was A Beautiful Demons. This is book 1 in her Shadow Demons saga, which the Shadow Demons saga is it currently has 11 books in it, but she's planning on she's writing the finale of the book, which is book 12. But that is kind of the same kind of vibe and atmosphere as, well, not vibe, but the same world as A Mirror of Shadows book. I do plan on going back and rereading Beautiful Demons because I believe I read that. I believe I read Beautiful Demons back in like 2024, 2025 time frame. I honestly can't remember. My mind is kind of shot whenever it comes to dates and stuff. But I just want to get reacquainted with the world, and I do plan on continuing on reading all of Sarah's backlist, or at least everything in the Shadow Demons kind of world. But yeah, when it comes to A Mirror of Shadows, I really enjoyed it. The story seemed to just flow. She originally kind of did this, like, reading session. Okay, so A Mirror of Shadows was originally written as an episodic work, so serialized fiction. She was reading it aloud on her Sarra Cannon channel whenever Spooktacular was happening, which is kind of her community event that happens in October, in October, and it's that's whenever Beautiful Demons was originally released in October, and it's kind of just this fun little place for her to talk about her books and stuff like that, and just spread the word, I guess, I don't know. But she was originally reading this book, The Mirror of Shadows, on the channel in her episodic fiction, in an episodic way. The episodes of the video were one chapter, but they were roughly, I think she said 2,000 words long. Then later on it came longer. But she's planning on doing this, I think, with the rest of the books in this kind of series, the Shadow Game series. But I stopped listening to those back whenever it was at episode 6. Can't honestly tell you what was happening in that time, but after, like, the first or second episode, I was like, I want to continue to listen to the story or read this story. And after she did all the readings for the story as it was originally, she then went back and changed a few things and eventually published it. It actually came out in 2026. And I was like, I want to read it, so I'm going to pick it up eventually. And in July, it just happened to be the time that I picked it up. I was able to read it in 4 different sessions. When it comes to Sarra Cannon's writing, I really enjoy, like, this kind of, like, mystery element she has to the story. And, like, obviously with a series, you're not supposed to have everything out right, or at least, like, an interconnected series. Not an interconnected, but, like, a series that flows from one book to the next. But there was, like, a few things in the beginning I was like, okay, what is her powers and kind of things, because the main character is kind of like a witch, and like the whole fantasy vibe is like witches and stuff like that for Sarra's world. I think there's other fictional fantasy creatures, but it's mostly focused on witches. But I really enjoyed the atmosphere of this character and kind of how she, like, I loved her background information, and as this book continued, it continued to expand, and I was like, oh, this, like, how she, everything about her magic, makes complete sense as to, A, who she is, but also why she's so, like, her story is meant to be told. Like, this is her story and why it's meant to be told. And this book is also, like, a slow burn romance. Like, I mean, slow burn. And it's a lot of, like, are they not kind of going to happen kind of thing. Which I really enjoy, instead of having, like, just, like, the romance being told right out, like, having it right out, like, instant love. Well, they kind of had, not instant love, because there was, like, that if and if they weren't kind of thing. And I, like, sometimes think, like, it's, like, they're enemies, then they're acquaintances, then they go back to enemies kind of thing, and I think eventually, well, it's a romance, so they're eventually going to have romance and become lovers, but it's such an interesting dynamic that I really enjoyed it. And, like, the whole setup for A Mirror of Shadows and the series is called The Shadow Games, and I will say this book is kind of like a Hunger Games meets more fantasy elements instead of, like, real life, and, like, just the whole, I just love the whole setup of this book, and this whole world that Sarra's built, and I think that's why I want to go back and read all of Sarra's backlist. I only have book 1 in the Shadow Demon saga, but I do plan on buying the rest, rereading all the books, reading them all, because A Mirror of Shadows, as Sarra kind of described it, is kind of like, not necessarily a prequel, but it is a series that is kind of a spin-off of the main series. So it's like this series intertwines with it, but you don't have to read, say, like the Shadow Demon saga before the Shadow Games series. So it's really, really interesting, and I love that. And it also, like, I feel like that is how I am as an author. Like, for me, whenever it comes to my writing, like, I expand the world so much that you can fully feel like you are in that world. So it's just really nice to, A, see someone else do it, and she is a successful author, you know, so it gives me hope to do it too. But yeah, the whole A Mirror of Shadows book was so beautifully done. I love the elements of the found family, you know, and still, like, within the family, like, within the found family, like, there's still that, like, you know, the book says, the back of the blurb says, something about enemies. Enemies become allies, allies become traitors, and the deadliest game of all has nothing to do with the arena. But, so, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say, like, I fear that whenever, like, say, book 3 happens, or whenever the book series is done, like, they're no longer friends kind of thing. I don't know, like, I don't know. I fear for some things, but also at the same point, I'm like, I feel like this family, this tight-knit group is going to stay together. But there's still that possibility, you know? I don't know. But I do love everything that happened in this book. It was a really, really great read. If you want to go check it out, I will have a link down in the description below to buy A Mirror of Shadows off of Amazon. I only buy books off of Amazon. I don't think I've ever bought another book anywhere else. I don't even have a local bookstore. Like, the local bookstore around me is like an hour and a half away, so that's not a possibility. But I did really enjoy this book, and my next book that I'm reading, I really kind of like, maybe I should go back and read Beautiful Demons, but instead I am going to be reading the Stolen Kingdom series, The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany Atazadeh. This is an old cover of the books. I'm pretty sure it's also old formatting too, but I'm not going to buy a new book if I don't like it, because I did previously try to read the Stolen Kingdom book, but I only made it, like, not even to, like, the first act the break into 2 kind of section. And, like, I don't know why it was, maybe because it was just where I was mental health-wise. Actually, I think I've tried to read it twice, and I never really got into it. Could have been mental health wise. It could have been like just my life environment at that time because I was living at my brother's. So there's some things that are kind of changing in me, but I think I'm ready to read it. If not, I don't know. We're not going to think of if I don't like it. We're just going to focus on I will like it. So The Stolen Kingdom is the next book. This is basically an Aladdin retelling of the story. The back little tagline, is how can she protect her kingdom if she can't protect herself, kind of thing. But yeah, so this is the next book I'm going to be reading. But when it comes to A Mirror of Shadows, I really enjoyed it, and I really am enjoying Sarra Cannon's writing style and her world, and that will result in me buying more books. But that's all I kind of got to say for today. If you want to go pick up A Mirror of Shadows or Stolen Kingdom, go pick them up. I'll have links in the description below. I am not affiliated with Amazon. This is where I buy the books. You guys can go pick them up. But yeah, that's kind of all I got to say for today. I hope you guys all have a lovely day. And remember to keep making fantasies come true, one story at a time, okay? And I'll see you guys later. Bye!